Drake should retire. He just dropped a new song called Search and Rescue, and after listening to this, that was my first thought. And today I'll explain why that was my first thought after listening to the new track. If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new songs in the description. So we've been waiting for this song to arrive for like 2 weeks now, maybe 1 week, like 1.5 weeks, because this was the song that we got a snippet off of on Drake's Instagram story. It is produced by Benny X, and that's the first thing that I just real quick want to say. The production is great on this one. I'll get into why the instrumental is so important in a second, but shout out to Benny X for securing this one, because he also tweeted this out on Twitter. He was saying like, yo, I used to put Drake acapellas on my beats, and now he actually produced a real track for him. So shout out to Benny X. Really happy for him, and I know that this song is gonna be huge. Like, I know that this one is gonna be one of those God's plans, even maybe not as big as God's plan, but you know what I'm saying. Those songs that just take off, get hundreds of millions of streams, and they're kind of like a low effort song. I'm not trying to say it's low effort. It's still a good song. It's kind of a vibe when you listen to it. The instrumental is so eerie and so repetitive that you always got it in your ear even after you turn off the song, and that's why I think this is going to be a big song. The instrumental plays a big part. It's over 4 minutes in length, which you would think would take away from its enjoyability, but the fact that it's so repetitive in terms of, well, for one, the instrumental, but also the chorus, the I need someone to be patient with me, that just adds to the fact that you can just tune into the song at any point and you'll get the same enjoyment out of it. You don't have to wait for any specific part that is good. It's just kind of solid all the way through, and that's what I like about it, but that's also what makes it so generic. But as I said, I still think it's going to be big. And now Drake actually left in that bridge, or that little break with the Kim K interview where she was, talking about the divorce from Kanye, which I don't know what to think about. Like, on the one side, I'm thinking this is hard, and like the fact that he just didn't give a fuck and put this in here is pretty ballsy, but also like, why take another, unnecessary shot at Kanye after the whole past thing? But it is kind of hard, gotta admit. I don't know what Drake is trying to do with this track. We'll get into the retirement thing in a second. He's just coming off of a really successful performance at Dreamville Festival. They uploaded an insane video with animations on their YouTube channel, so make sure to go check it out. But he performed there. It was pretty big. Reuniting with J. Cole, I think that was pretty cool. And so his name was in the conversation anyway. He's also about to go on tour in 2 months from June to September, I believe, with the It's All a Blur tour, with 21 Savage playing their album Her Loss. Now, I did, kind of throw up some theories last video about this tour happening in June, and we still got like 2 months till June. Now we got a single, so there might be the possibility for Scary Hours 3 to still drop before the tour. And this track, Search and Rescue, low-key feels like a Scary Hours track. Like, it has that mellow vibe, a little bit of a menacing vibe to it that we also had on the second and first one. So maybe this is a single for Scary Hours, even though Scary Hours don't usually have singles. But then again, the first Scary Hours was only 2 tracks, the second one 3. Maybe we're in for like a little bit of a longer EP. But let's actually talk about why Drake should retire. And now I gotta add, this isn't like a fully formulated thought that I had, but the thing that I wanted to kind of put out there and to express to y'all was Drake is just running in circles at this point. Like, he's just jumping on different waves that he's always done, but at this point is getting, kind of repetitive. The fact that he's now on the Benny X wave, which I love for Benny X to get that opportunity, but it's just kind of the same thing over and over again. And it's this thing that keeps his career alive, because otherwise his sound would have been left, in the past 10 years ago. And I like that we got a player like Drake in the game. We talked about his retirement after that, interview with Lil Yachty, where he was talking about a graceful exit from the game, and that being more important than just kind of like going long term with no real, end in sight. And I think he said that he wanted to do a couple more projects, but at some point is considering retirement. Kind of the same thing that we get J. Cole in right now, where he's talking about, the Fall Off being his last album, and after that, maybe going into a role of an Andre 3000 or a Jay-Z, where they're not actively dropping solo music anymore, but they're still here and there, hopping on a couple of features, maybe doing some side appearances, and just kind of fulfilling their role in the culture and in the game. But, and here's the big but that I have with Drake, in comparison to J. Cole. J. Cole seems to have a plan. J. Cole seems to be like, I got this album I want to put out, this album I want to put out with those things that I want to say on that album, and then I'm out. Drake is just kind of in a lost situation where he's just jumping on different wave, whatever's coming up right now. The same thing he's been doing over the past 10 years. And I think that will not lead to a graceful exit. I think that will lead to an exit where he's just kind of fumbling the bag by trying to stay up to date with whatever sound is popping right now, but they're not doing it to the extent that we've seen him adopt new sounds in the past. Because at some point, people do not want to listen to Drake anymore. He's like 36 now. I mean, in 10 years when he's 46, no like young kids are going to be tuning into him. At least I don't expect that. It never ends well when you just keep making endless music. Eminem proved that. Even though I still like Eminem, you know, everything past like Recovery was really not it, and him just trying to stay relevant, and it didn't really work. He's doing the numbers, but like what young kids are coming into hip hop and they're like, yo, Eminem is so cool. They're listening to, you know, the Rage sound right now. They're listening to the Uzis, the Cardis, the Yeats. So I don't see, you know, Drake being that in tune with the younger generation anymore. Now don't get me wrong, this song is really like hypnotizing, and as I said, you will hear this like everywhere in a couple of months, especially when it starts getting radio plays and getting played in coffee shops and all of that. This is going to be everywhere, trust me. This kind of like, you know, the same thing that I have with a lot of Drake songs, where you listen to them and you're like, this is not really special. But then they just kind of get big and you're like, well, this was kind of predictable because it's a Drake song and it just plays the safe route. So this was kind of the same thing with this one. But I'm hoping that this is a first taste for Scary Hours 3. At least my, like, you know, conspiracy theory making mind wants me to believe that. I'm hoping before the tour, it would maybe make sense if they were on tour for like 3 months, that he would drop his Scary Hours like right before the tour so he can play those songs because they're likely going to go big. And then he has another half year because we know the difference between a Scary Hours and a big album is always 6 months. Then he has another half year to drop a big album in like, what then, like November, December, something like that. That would actually make a lot of sense. Like, tell me that's not like a real possible theory. And I know we're only talking about like, you know, hypothetical stuff right here, but I could really see this happening. So let me know what you think about this new song, Search and Rescue. Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Also, let me know what you think about my take on him, you know, should be retiring. That was not a sentence, but you'll know what I'm saying. Let me know all of your thoughts and your, you know, opinions on this in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.